Bim! Guess what? We're live, and it is the 5th of August 2022, and we're here to discuss what a week that was with me. This week we have got a lot of stuff to get through, including some pretty insane stuff, loads of stuff from the USA, the way they report stuff, and stuff that just goes on in America, which defies anything, says me. We're also going to talk about Rich and Dizzy Lizzie Truss, who are currently trying to become our new Prime Minister. We're also going to discuss Russia, Taiwan, F1, which is insane at the moment, even though they're not racing, and poor old Archie Battersby as well, which is becoming world news now, by the looks of things. Anyway, we start off with this drawing, which is superimposed over a fossil which was found, and it's possibly one of the first ever creatures on the planet that was a predator and basically ate other creatures on the planet, and it's been named after a certain Mr. or Sir David Attenborough, which is nice. So I thought we'd start with something nice to begin with, and then we'll just go straight into the here we go again stuff. So, Gazprom, or Gazprom, basically it is a Russian gas company owned by Russia, as far as I'm aware, and it has decided, hiya, new look, JT, hope you're good. It's been decided by them that they are going to reduce the amount that Lithuania gets of gas to zero, which means Lithuania is not going to get any gas from Gazprom, which means gas prices are going to go up again because Lithuania obviously needs as much as we do gas, so therefore gas prices they're going to go through the roof, and there's not a lot we can do about it. One thing I've said, and I said it last week, no, I didn't say it last week, I said it in the paper. I write a column in the local paper, and what I said was that the gas hike price that's going on at the minute in Britain is done every 6 months, but looking at the gas prices for the year so far, they spiked obviously when Russia invaded Ukraine. I mean, that's a given, but then they dropped back down again fairly quickly. I know it was summertime and all that, and now they've only started going up again because Russia is now reducing the amount of gas that they're sending across to Europe, but our gas prices have remained high all the way through. So, and they're going up again. They reckon that an average household could be paying up to 4,000 UK pounds for fuel by, well, January every year, which is a shocking price when you think this time last year it was near 1,500 British pounds. So yeah, the price of gas is absolutely ridiculous. Me and Rach are buying a canal barge to get away from the gas and electric bills. Yeah, but you still have to buy gas for your cooking, and you still have to buy diesel for your generator. So yeah, you're only just moving the problem along. The only thing you won't have to pay is water rates. And yeah, that's another subject that we'll be coming up with as well in the very near future. I'm actually looking for a picture here, which I don't appear to have, which is a bit annoying because I thought I did have it. Oh yeah, I do. There it is. Yeah, I'd use red diesel. The big companies, again, are going on, energy companies are making record profits, and BP announced profits in 3 months of somewhere in the region of, I don't know, I can't remember, 6 or 9. Retro Rascal, no idea what's happening, to be honest. I'm a hermit that lives in the woods. It's probably the best place. Used to run a work van on red diesel. Yeah, shh, don't tell anyone that. They'll be around. So yeah, BP recording record profits, but they will be doing, well, not BP necessarily, but other companies will be doing, because the wholesale price of gas went down during the summer, but they're still charging us the expensive price for it, and now it's going up again. They're going to charge us more, but it's not going up as much as it had done at the beginning of the year. But they're still going to charge us even more. So someone somewhere is making money that they shouldn't be making. And it's not just a UK issue, it's a worldwide issue as well. I know Biden's popularity in America has gone down because of the cost of living. But yeah, what can we do? Well, nothing except for maybe live in the woods or buy a barge, which seems to be the in thing at the minute. I do like on-off stories, and President Biden is delivering some very good on-off stories. He's he's basically getting and then not getting COVID. He's now been COVID free, as we reported last week, but at the beginning of this week he was positive again for COVID, and it just seems to be an ongoing thing. Now apparently some people do this. They get it, they recover from it, they get it again, they recover from it. I know people who get colds like that as well, so it's probably a similar kind of thing. Something I have to mention is that some women won a football team, and one of them ran around with no top on, which, if it was a man footballer, would have resulted in a fine. Very sad news if you're a Star Trek fan. Lieutenant Uhura has passed away. Obviously, the character hasn't passed away, but the actress who played her has passed away. But she was 89, which is a damn good age. And the last time I saw her in anything, which surprised me because I don't watch much, was Deadpool. And she played the blind woman in Ryan Reynolds' apartment in the first and maybe the second movie, I don't know. And I kind of recognised her at first, and I thought, who is she? Who is she? Who is she? Anyway, it turned out to be Lieutenant Uhura, but obviously an old lady. Anyway, she's passed away this week, so condolences, etc. to all her fans, family and friends. 89, not bad at all. No condolences needed for the leader of the Al-Qaeda, who was killed by a US drone strike in Afghanistan. That's enough of that. I'm not even going to mention his name. Two reasons. One, I can't pronounce it, and B, I'm not making these people immoral. Someone tried to kill the Queen, apparently. Went in with a crossbow into Windsor Castle on Christmas Day morning, about 7 o'clock in the morning, and was obviously arrested, and has now been charged with treason, which is something like from the 1860s or 1816 or something daft like that. Not punishable by death anymore, but definitely probably get locked up in the Tower or something similar, very similar. But yeah, it's. I think last time they used it was 1981, so it's not something that's charge that's brought against people on a regular basis. And in 1981, it was a guy who fired a blank gun directly at the Queen while she was on the parade ground near Downing Street, the back of Downing Street. The Conservative Party, you've got to love them. Liz Truss, you cannot trust Liz Truss. She decided she was going to introduce regional pay boards tailoring pay to the cost of living where civil servants actually work. And that would save the country up to £8.8 billion per year. So basically, explaining this, if you become a teacher, a nurse, doctor, trainee doctor, a fireman, just a civil servant in London, and you got offered the same job in Manchester or Leeds. No, it was a loaded crossbow, and he was saying he was there to kill the Queen, so it's treason. If you got offered the job in London, and you had the same job offered to the same person in Leeds or Manchester or whatever, the London one would be considerably more wages than the one up here. Oh, they mean the guy in the 80s. Oh, you only got 5 years for it. So, which means 2.5 years for good behaviour. And fame as well, although I'm not mentioning his name because I'm not going to make these people immortal. You're throwing me off with Liz Truss here. Come on, I need to get on with Liz Truss. So Liz Truss has been saying that that's what she wants to do, and it's going to save the country loads of money. But if you got offered the same job in two areas, and in one area your wage was 5-10 grand a year more than it would be somewhere else, you'd go for the higher one, even though the cost of living is more. Oh, I hope. What's going on? We've got a bit of buffering. Right, we're back. Yeah, OBS not working very well at the moment. I may have to uninstall and reinstall it or something. I don't know, but it's definitely not working very well. Anyway, yeah. So she said basically that it's going to be a massive variance in the same job around the country, and everyone went mad about it because like no one would work in Wigan or Leeds or whatever. They'd all work in London, even though it is more expensive to live there. The difference in price that you're earning would mean you'd still be better off in London, and you're in London and not in Leeds or Wigan or whatever. So she said, and that is no longer, the day after she said it, that is no longer the policy. We are not doing that. That is not my policy. And, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Kay Burley. She's from Wigan. She's from, literally lived some in the region of half a mile in that direction when she was a kid. Obviously, I didn't know it because I didn't live here at the time. And she said, when she was interviewing her on Sky, I only saw the clip, I didn't watch the whole thing, but you weren't a Brexiteer, but now you are a Brexiteer. You didn't vote for something or other, but now you have voted for something or other. And all these flip-flops that she's done, all these U-turns she's done. And basically, can we trust her to run the country if she can't make her mind up over things and changes her mind because people have a little whinge about it within a day of making the policy? So you think, well, Rishi then. And at the same thing, the same event, Rishi seemed to do quite well until today, where Rishi is seen in a field with other. It's a private Conservative members meeting, where he's basically saying that he's proud that he's diverted money from urban areas that have been allocated money to areas that are doing a lot better, because that's what he does. And basically he's just made himself look a complete twit. So Rishi Sunak, I think we should just keep Boris. I think we should start something called Let's Keep Boris, because at least we know he's an idiot. And at least we know he's a complete and utter plonker. But we know that. Whereas these two, we're just learning stuff about him every single bloody day, and it's just doing me head in. Anyway, Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer. You know he's really bad and he's crap. He'll never be Prime Minister because again, flip-flopping. He sacked a Labour MP not last week, the week before, because we mentioned it last week, for going on a picket line and doing interviews with the press. Yet Lisa Nandy this week goes on a picket line, which looks like it's Wigan. Could be Wigan, that. That could be, that building behind them could be, because it says Toffee on it, it could be Uncle Joe's. Anyway, she went on a picket line and has not been sacked or even told off. She's just been told, well, that's fine, you can do that. So one rule for one rule for the other. Keir Starmer has got as much control on the Labour Party as anyone has on any party at the moment. It's just, I don't know why we even bother with the bloody parties. I think we should just stop them, just get rid, just have individuals there and they can do things and then they can discuss with each other what they're going to do. Right, Nancy Pelosi, I said last week, wasn't going to go to Taiwan. She did go to Taiwan. I haven't actually got a picture of her though, but let's be honest, he wants to see her. Exactly. I'd say we should do another general election, but everyone is terrible. That is the problem. There's no one electable as leader of the country. I mean, Keir Starmer, normally I say, well, he'd be a decent guy to go to the pub with, but I wouldn't even say that. They've seen the way he holds a bottle of beer. Weird. And then you've got the leader of the Lib Dems, who's another Knight of the Realm, and he's a complete waste of time. And then you've got no one leading the Conservatives at the minute. So yeah, they're all completely rubbish. Anyway, Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan. I watched it live, and it was one of them things where, am I watching the world order change? Am I watching the beginnings, the Franz Ferdinand moment of World War III? Or is it just going to be one of these things that kind of happens, there's a bit of huff and puff, and then everyone forgets about it? At the moment, we're full of huff and puff. The Chinese of Taiwan, right? Taiwan is not recognised as a sovereign country. It is recognised as a democracy, but not as a country. And Nancy Pelosi, when she went there, said about democracy and all that, she'd never refer to it as a country. China sees it as the equivalent of the way that Russia see Ukraine, which is a country that should be part of China, but it isn't, and it's, yeah, there's a lot going on, and Nancy Pelosi went there and probably made things worse. So, as reprisals, these red squares, which are around the, let's make it bigger for you so you can see, around Taiwan, these areas are no-go areas for any ships or any planes, because they are carrying out, China, live ammunition manoeuvres in those areas, which most of are nowhere near China. You'll notice they're all around Taiwan. There's been airplanes flying over what they call the median line, which is the little square above the T. Oh, the screen's jammed, has it? Ah, okay then. Let's do this. Right, hopefully we're back. Yeah, we're back. Right then. So, the so Taiwan is suffering from the anger of China. They've also put some sanctions against Taiwan as well, where some fruit isn't being imported into China and a few other bits and pieces as well. But the big question is, has any of the planes flown over Taiwanese airspace? And we don't know because, well, China's not saying, and Taiwan hasn't actually said either. But they are firing missiles, and allegedly some of them have gone directly over the country, which, well, it's not a country, is it? It's a democracy. But America are getting very rattled by this. So there are helicopters, there are planes flying over the seas, flying over shipping, and basically being very intimidating. They're also firing off rockets as well, from well within land. These are ballistic missiles that are being fired off, and they're also firing the smaller, like, missiles that we've sent to Ukraine, which are the ones on the back of the lorries. I've got a picture of them somewhere. Where are we? Where's it going? Where's it going? Where's it going? Where's it going? There it is. They're also firing them as well. All around Taiwan. And Japan, who's a little bit off the map, has said that, why is it not receiving enough? It says it's not receiving enough. Oh, you will experience buffering apparently. Anyway, I'm not experiencing buffering. So, yeah, you can hear me. Can you see me though? Clap, clap, clap. Yeah, I can see myself. Yeah. Okay then. So it's all kicking off. This is quite serious. I mean, this is like the end of the world, and we're busy looking at other things. So Buffering a little bit, it's normal now. Right, okay then. And there we've got the Chinese ships and planes that are here, there and everywhere. Although some of the stuff that China's shown, proving what they're doing, has been proven to be 2 years old footage because they've shown it before. Now, whether it's going to escalate or not is... Oh, here's a picture of Nancy Pelosi. There you go. Whether it's going to escalate or not, we don't know, because obviously that's in the future. But I do fear that sanctions are on the way. They've already sanctioned Nancy Pelosi from ever going to China. Taiwan can't do anything. Taiwan can't do anything because Taiwan isn't a country. And if it tried to go independent, it would be obliterated. So it's stuck in a hard place, really. But we've already got lack of communication now. China has withdrawn all cooperation with America on drugs and PPE and stuff like that as well. So that sanctions are starting, which I predicted would happen about a year ago. I started going on about these when I found out that Wigan was getting money from China to be rebuilt. Of course, we've already in enough trouble with the war in Russia, not in Russia, in Ukraine, and our interest rates have gone up. The only thing China's given us is COVID. Well, you'd be surprised. Look at the amount of clothes and things you've got, and look at the back of them where they're made. Because there's a lot of stuff that China brings us, and that's worrying. But yeah, the interest rate has gone up to has gone up another 0.5% to 1.75 or something like that, which basically means mortgage rates have gone up. If you've got money savings, that's good because that means it's going to go up a little bit. But if you've got credit cards or if you've got loans or anything like that, it's bad. It means you're going to be more skint. And they're trying to do this so that the economy doesn't go into recession. But they've already said that the British economy is going to go into recession. And to be fair, I think the world economy is going to go in recession as well. So yeah, no matter how you look at it, it's not great. What they're going to do as well now is I've already said this. Yeah, I've already said about the energy cap, haven't I? Right, we're going to now go to the tragic case of Archie Battersby. That's him there with his mother. His mother today has been filmed outside hospital, saying that she thinks it's disgraceful the lack of compassion and care that the doctors are showing, allegedly, towards Archie, who's a young lad who's been on life support, and they've been looking at it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, since April. And then she keeps going to court to try and get him to be transferred to another country and all this kind of stuff. But there are things now being said that he's in such a bad way that his brain is actually starting to decompose within his body. Again, I haven't got any proof of that, but there's nothing there, there's nothing happening to it, so it's just starting to, what they call, not crystallise, but something like that, as are his lungs as well. You know, the lad, sadly, is dead. Rumours are as well that it's not the first time he's been found unconscious. He may or may not allegedly have tried to commit suicide a while ago, and rumours that life with his parents wasn't a happy one. So, I mean, it's all rumours, speculation. You know what the internet's like. A lot of it will be BS, but it's just sad that his parents seem to be spending less time by his bedside and more time going in and out of court to try and keep him alive. But to all intents and purposes, he's not alive, and he never will be. It's just awful. I can see, you know, if it was one of my kids or grandkids now, as it is, then yeah, I'd be devastated. But I think you've got to, at a certain point, you've got to draw a line and say, right, okay then, you know, this is where we're at. It's bloody awful, but what else can we do? Yeah, it's just not. It's an all-round bad story. But I think things may come out in the next few weeks, which may be surprising and somewhat scary as well. But again, it's all rumours and speculation. One thing that isn't a rumour or speculation is we haven't had a lot of rain. Particularly down south, so across from Cardiff up to Birmingham and then across to Hull. Anything south of that has had very little rain this year so far, and the least amount of rain has been had in a lot of areas in July since records began. So now there is a hosepipe ban coming in areas down south, so Kent and Sussex, Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. Hampshire and the Isle of Wight are operational now, started at 5 o'clock today, and Kent and Sussex are going to be starting next Friday. Again, if you need to do a hosepipe ban, a bit like I said with COVID, if you need to have a lockdown or you need to change the rules, you don't do it a week next Friday, you do it now. So it seems daft that people have got basically a week to waste water by spraying the garden every day or whatever. It just seems bonkers. I mean, and they're even asking people to spy on the neighbours and tell the water company what's going on. And then one of the water companies, I'm not sure which one, Hampshire I think it was, but I'm not sure on that, they are losing some in the region of 19 million litres of water a day through leaks that they haven't fixed, which is a stupid amount of Olympic-sized swimming pools just going down the drain, literally. And the woman was being interviewed, and she said, well, we can't fix them all straight away, and we're fixing, 250 a week. 250 a week? Nah, you need more people on that job, love. Definitely. I mean, that surely should be the priority more than anything else. Anyway, next up we've got some bizarre news to do with sport. Now, you all know that my only sport that I like is F1, although, to be fair, I am keeping an eye on the Commonwealth Games. I'm not really, but the bull from the Commonwealth Games was going to be scrapped and recycled, but now, due to a public outcry, the bull, which is now on display in the centre of Birmingham, is going to go into a permanent exhibition somewhere in Birmingham in the very near future. So it's been saved for posterity, and I think rightly so as well, because it's a fabulous piece of workmanship and all that. And if you're interested, I know the last leg go on about this, but this was the medal standing tables earlier on today. Australia in the lead with 50 golds, England with 44, and then everyone else just turning up. Third place have got 17, then 16, 8 for Scotland, 7 for India. I mean, it's Commonwealth Games, it's not the Olympic Games, it's not World Championships or anything, it's the Commonwealth Games. So, I mean, I couldn't care less, I'll be honest with you. But what I do care about is F1. I love F1. And something very surprising happened this week. In fact, it was on Sunday. It was a free practice free, and the final standings showed Latifi had the fastest lap. I need to get out of the way. He was number one. Him was always at the back. He was always last. He was always rubbish. He got first place. I mean, you don't get anything for it, and he finished last in the race, but he got number one. So maybe he's not as bad as what people thought he was. Yeah, okay. But then it just got mental. Guy I've never heard of, Oscar Pastry, I don't know. He has been signed for Alpine, according to Alpine. Basically replacing Alonso, who's moving to the green cars, Aston Martin, because Vettel is retiring. Basically, we got swappy chairs things going on. So it was all announced, and everyone's excited because he's apparently a good racer and all this kind of stuff. So everyone's like, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that'll be great, that, won't it? The only one problem, Oscar Pastry had no idea. I understand, without my agreement, Alpine F1 have put out a press release late this afternoon that I am driving for them next year. This is wrong. I have not signed a contract with Alpine for 2023. I will not be driving for Alpine next year. This opened the floodgates, didn't it, for various companies and people to, well, take the mickey, including Ryanair, who posted Alpine Ryanair random seat allocation, which I thought was actually quite funny for a company that don't really have a sense of humour because they just rip people off allegedly. I've been on their planes a couple of times. DTM, they had a thing. He will be racing for DTM next season, and various other people said the same thing. But the one who nailed it, I've always liked, I always thought he's quite funny, is Alex Albon. And he said, I understand with my agreement, Williams Racing have put out a press release this afternoon that I am driving for them next year. This is right, and I have signed a contract with Williams for 2023. I will be driving for Williams next year. So completely ripped the Oscar tweet and then obviously changed it. And yeah, brilliant. Nailed it, mate. Nailed it. I wish everyone was as bright and intelligent as him. So next up, we've got, it's America. God, what's going on in America? So this is Meanwhile in America, where we look at news stories from America. I am not deliberately taking the mickey out of the actual contents of the stories. Some of these are tragic. Merely the way they're reported or the fact they even occurred in the first place is the thing I'm going on about within this. So, first off, we've got a scientist guy. And this looks interesting to me because I am very needle scared. I don't want needles anywhere near me. Which explains my status, whatever, on the COVID situation. But the COVID-19 patch found to be more effective than needles. An Australian developed COVID-19 vaccine patch has been found to be far more effective at protecting against new variants of the virus than needles. So basically, you put the patch on, no needles involved, so that makes me happy, and it's actually giving you better protection. Probably because it's there all the time, so it's always, updating itself. Meanwhile, model Grace Anthenos pleads guilty for trying to smuggle cocaine in her fufu. 24-year-old model has thanked her legal team after she avoided a criminal conviction for attempting to carry a condom filled with 5.6 grams of cocaine into a Sydney concert. She basically was not trying to smuggle it out of the country, but she didn't get away with it. She got charged and she's got fined and all that, but she didn't go to prison. And it was in her fufu. It's Australia. I mean, Australians are madder than Americans. Ivana Shatara barred from Alabama execution for too short a skirt. I have worn this skirt to prior executions without incident. Prior executions? Is it a day out for you? Executions? I mean, first, I fail to see the relevance of the height of a skirt, to be fair, if you're going to watch someone where some of the people getting executed, and they're probably blindfolded anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. And plus, what they're going to do anyway if you're wearing a shirt, I don't get. But I've worn them to prior executions without incident. What kind of woman? She's only young as well. You get old people who like going to funerals and things like that, but Christ almighty, going to an execution. I read this as Judge Toss's jail guard, but then I read the rest of it. Union suit opposing vaccine mandate. So basically, Supreme Court judge said the decision not to have a jab is unconstitutional. So I think that basically means if you work in a prison, you've got to have it. To be fair, if you work in a prison, it's probably best to have it because everyone's really tightly close together, more so than what they probably should be in whichever prison it is. Now, we're going on about World War III, possibly the end of the world and all that. Well, let's not worry because you'll be pleased to hear that there is a computer software program which has come up with its perceived impression, or its perceived, not impression, its perceived last selfie on Earth. So it's basically recreated what it thinks will be the last selfie on Earth before mankind is wiped out. And here it is. It's an AI program, and that's what it will look like. He's got the phone the wrong way around for a start. The timing of the inevitable apocalypse is unclear. I think it's getting closer by the day. But yeah, the AI says that's what we'll all look like just before we all get obliterated. Las Vegas flooding, multiple casinos, entire strip and airport underwater. There is a lot of rain in Las Vegas. Now, we have reported this before. Las Vegas is in the middle of a desert. Las Vegas does not get a lot of rain. All the buildings in Las Vegas, or the majority of the big buildings, are flat roofed. They're not really that watertight because they don't need to be. So a lot of casinos, a lot of slot machines and gambling machines are just getting completely trashed because the water is flowing through like a waterfall through the roof, because they're not, like I said, they're not designed for it. But it just kind of shows you how mucked up the weather is worldwide if you've got flooding going on and torrential rain for not 1 day or 2 days, a few days in the middle of a desert at Las Vegas. A Teflon con, Charles Wood, personifies the results of New York's bail reform law. Basically, this guy gets done for shoplifting on a regular basis, gets put on bail, and then he reoffends, and he's done it multiple times, and they call him the Teflon guy because he's never been charged with it. Now what he really needs to do is, for a bit of luck, like this guy here, or woman, a single winner from Illinois wins $1.28 billion Mega Millions jackpot. A single winner who purchased their ticket in Illinois has won that amount of money. It's only the third largest in US history. Makes you wonder what the other two are up to with all that money that they earned. Because, 1 million would be amazing for me. But $1 billion plus? Crikey. Monkeypox. Yay! It's now becoming more and more of a problem, apparently. It's been declared a disaster in a number of states in America because of its transmissibility. Generally, it's in the homosexual community, but it is spreading now as well amongst children at school, playgroups, that kind of thing. Because obviously, they're always hugging each other and playing and touching and that kind of thing. Not in the same way as homosexual people, but it's contact, skin contact, and that's what causes the transmission of it. So it's now becoming more of a problem, and a few people, only a handful, I think worldwide less than 20, have died from it. I'm not a big fan of evangelist type preachers. I think Genesis, Jesus He Loves Me video kind of sums it up perfectly. Just give us your money, we'll live life for rich, you're all poor, but give us your money anyway, blah blah blah. And this New York City bishop was robbed of $1 million worth of jewelleries while doing a live stream, and now he's saying it wasn't staged for the insurance. But why has someone of the cloth got $1 million worth of jewellery, and why are they wearing it live somewhere where it's obvious what they've got? It probably even said it's worth $1 million, so someone's broke in and robbed him, or the insurance. House passes a semi-automatic gun ban after an 18-year lapse. The House passed legislation last Friday to receive a ban on semi-automatic guns. It's the first vote of its kind in years, and a direct response to the firearms often used in the mass shootings that go on. Whether it's going to make any difference or not, I doubt, because there's millions of them things out there already, and I'm pretty sure it's not law yet, so people can still buy them and do all that kind of thing. Philippines lawmakers want to make ghosting illegal. They want to make ghosting someone an emotional offence, including mandatory community services. If you get caught, definitely staged. Yes, the $1 million insurance fraud. Yeah, do it live on. Yeah, definitely. I mean, ghosting is not a nice thing, but sometimes it's the only way you can deal with people. So, yeah, I can't see how you can make it. Anyway, it's the Philippines. Let's not worry about it. Momentum may soon shift in the Ukraine war, say experts. The embattled Ukraine may get the upper hand in the upcoming weeks as the counter-offence gets underway using weapons supplied by the West. To be fair, let's be honest, Russia have not done very well, full stop. And they are just plodding along very ineptly at the moment. Joe Biden's popularity is lower than any other modern presidents in history, but a lot of that is because of what is going on worldwide, which he can't actually affect. Like our Prime Minister can't affect anything, like presidents all over the world can't affect anything other than Putin. He's the only one who can affect things. So his office now is a historic low of 40%, and it's 42% was the previous lowest one, which was Jimmy Carter. And I remember I was only a kid when Jimmy Carter left the White House, and I said, "Oh, that was a shame. I thought he was all right." And my stepdad looked at me and went, "No, no, no." I'm like, "Oh, okay then." China. Debris from uncontrolled 23-ton Chinese rocket falls over the Indian Ocean. So a Chinese rocket made a return to Earth uncontrolled and landed in the Indian Ocean. Well, broke up over the Indian Ocean, and bits of it landed in the Indian Ocean. China, remember, are pulling out of the space station to build their own space station, so I wonder how long that'll stay up there for. Remember, again, if you're of a certain age, you'll remember the Russian one end up coming back down to Earth, well, I think in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, something like that. Chinese ships and planes make provocative moves towards Taiwan ahead of Pelosi visits. This was before she went there. The anticipated visit on Tuesday was preceded by very provocative moves by Chinese planes and warships, which spent the morning just basically getting in position. Rumours were, while she was there, that they actually fired rockets, live rockets as well, not that far away. Pelosi arrived in Malaysia with tension rising, which again we've spoke of. It was quite funny, like I say, I watched it live and watched this plane land. It was pitch black and it landed, and the guy on the BBC or Sky was saying, I don't know whether it is Nancy Pelosi's plane, but the camera's definitely following this plane, so it might be. And when it finished landing, and then it kind of got close to the camera, the fin was lit up and there was a not Union Jack, Stars and Stripes on it, and he still wouldn't admit that Pelosi was going to be on it. And I'm like, well, I can't think of many other American planes that are going to be landing that have only got the Stars and Stripes on the rear fin, rather than the like the manufacturer, or not the manufacturer, the airline that it is. Anyway, it was her. A Brooklyn McDonald's employee was shot in the face after arguing with a customer. Now this is going to, there's a sad end to the story, but it's going to go on as we carry on through the week. McDonald's employee in critical condition after being shot in the face by a customer after an argument. That's all I'm going to tell you now. But you'll find out more very shortly. California governor declares monkeypox state of emergency, and people are out on the streets saying, it's another one, that they want the vaccines available immediately because, well, they need them. This is brilliant. A California liquor store owner shoots a would-be robber. A robber, armed with an AI-15 style rifle, tried robbing 80-year-old liquor store owner and gets shot by the owner seconds after telling him to freeze. Superb. I mean, gun laws in America need to be sorted, but it's nice when the good guys actually get one over. Controversial BLM activist Sean King's PAC paid over 40 grand for a guard dog. I mean, I always thought, BLM was like a peaceful kind of thing, and it was like, fair for everyone and all this kind of thing, but 40 grand for a guard dog? There's a new thing coming out on Disney Plus, Andor. It's a Star Wars spin-off, and the trailer featured an AK-47, and someone was a bit upset by it. You couldn't be bothered to design a space gun, said one Star Wars fan, while another just chimed in, hard pass, no aliens, and just a regular old AK-47. No creativity. So yeah, but it might be a before Star Wars kind of movie, like or a TV show. It might be fantastic. I mean, it probably won't be. It might be. Here we go. Gun laws needs sorting. New York City murders, shootings spiked in July as part of a 40% jump in major crimes thus far in 2022. The number of New York City murders, shootings and gun violence victims in July saw double-digit percentage bumps compared to roughly the same month last year, new statistics show. Now, if it was 2 years ago, it would be low because everyone was in lockdown, but it is scary that people are getting shot left, right and centre in America, and not a lot seems to be done about it. Talking of which, going back to McDonald's, mum of man in custody for McDonald's fries shooting details what led to the incident, revealing son's chilling words. The mum of the man held in the shooting of a Brooklyn McDonald's worker over cold French fries told the Post on Tuesday that her son had said afterwards he did what he had to do. So he shot a McDonald's employee because his fries were cold. He shot him in the neck because his fries were cold. Now, number of issues with this is, one is they just give you what is there, they don't cook it if he's at the counter. Two is, ask for warm fries. Hey mate, these fries are cold, have you got any warm ones? Three, don't get your gun out and shoot someone. I mean, come on. Then people wonder why we laugh at America for being backwards. Largest Californian wildfires seen on space satellite. The fires now, which are raging in California and still raging in Europe as well, are now visible from space, and some of them are being called the largest ones that have ever been seen, but difficult to quantify that, I'll be honest with you. It's very hot, so people are now designing wearable fans that are basically cooling down dogs and cats, so you can buy a suit with a fan on it for your dog. I mean, I know my cat wasn't overly impressed with the heat when we had it. It was 30 odd degrees, but I don't think you should thank me for putting a fan on her. Elderly store owner speaks out after shooting would-be robber. Store, not stoned. I got a long gun pointing directly at me, adding that he feared for his life. It was either him or me, and I was a bit faster. Fantastic. I must admit, if I had a shop in America, I probably would have a gun. But only because I need to. I wouldn't want to have one, but, things like that happen. Right, this is... Now, they keep going on about this thing about abortions and all that in America, and how awful it is that they're banning them and all this kind of stuff. And then you get the polar opposite. Well, it's not the opposite, really, because it's... Yeah. Georgia allows residents to claim embryos as dependents on state taxes. The Georgia Department of Revenue announced on Monday that a taxpayer who has an embryo with detectable human heartbeat may list it as a dependent and claim a $3,000 deduction on their tax forms. What? speechless. Now, this is good in a sad way, but Texas Huntingtown cancelled NRA fundraiser after the Uvalde school shooting. The Hondo City Council voted to revoke its rental agreement with the Medina County Friends of NRA that was scheduled to take place on city property this Saturday. So, well done to you guys, making a stand at last. Someone needs to. Right, back to McDonald's again. McDonald's worker shot over cold French fries, a police source said. The 23-year-old victim, who was fighting for his life at Brookdale Hospital, was working at McDonald's, said a high-ranking police source. I don't know why they're out of sequence, but anyway, it just proves the point that it was over cold fries. We've all had cold fries. You go to McDonald's, you don't expect cold fries. Man trying to kill a spider with a lighter sparked a Utah wildfire. A man determined to kill a spider with a lighter ignited a 60-acre wildfire in drought-stricken Utah. I mean, why would you try and kill a spider with a lighter? I mean, for a start, you've got to get close to it with the flame. You either, if you've got to kill it, you either stand on it or you squash it with something. You don't try and set fire to it at all. Period. Bat infestation forces Nevada fire stations indefinite shutdown again. So there's a fire station, that'd be impossible. Try to kill a spider with a lighter, yeah, because it just run away, wouldn't it? As soon as you feel the heat, but it's not just splat it. The bats have been flying around the living quarters of a small fire station, so they've had to shut it down again. Makes it sound like, why don't they just leave it for the bats? Because bats are protected. I assume in America, they are over here anyway. The Senate approves admitting Sweden and Finland to NATO. Remember a while ago we were on about Finland and Sweden wanting to become part of NATO. Well, the good news is that it seems to be going through quite quickly. I think other countries have also ratified it as well. So they should be soon part of NATO. Some good news, Mr. Change. Right, this is complete lack of respect. McDonald's shooting could have been avoided with hot fries, says kin of suspect's girlfriend. So the grandmother of the shooter's boyfriend has said hot fries would have solved the issue. I'm like, hot fries would have solved the issue, but there's no issue that ever gets solved with a gun in someone's neck. New Jersey Creek runs red after drink manufacturer dumps dye into the water system. It does look like a mass murder's gone on there, or it's a horror movie or whatever, but basically the river turned red, a bit like when in Chicago they do the Green River through Chicago for Paddy's Day. So yeah, I think it was harmless. Now, just remind me, what year are we in? It's very important, this question. What year are we in? Are we in 1963? Because this image looks like it was taken in 1963. It's black and white, it's fuzzy as hell, and you can't see what the hell it is, but a woman swears it's Bigfoot in Ohio. But it could be anything. It could literally be anything whatsoever. I mean, that's news. It would have been in the 1970s, but not now. This is more like news. A young lad, 13, gets his face bitten by a shark. A 13-year-old boy was on a lobster catching expedition with his family when he encountered the jaws of a nurse shark. are usually docile species. Well, if it bit him in the face and all he's got is a bit of a split lip, I don't think it bit him in the face. He probably went too close to it because he's a 13-year-old boy and there's a shark in front of you. Who wouldn't go close to it? Startled it, it's turned round and smacked him with its nose in his face and then swam off. And now he's saying he's been bitten by a shark, or his family are. And I think, I think that was just a curious teenager, which we all were when we were teenagers. You know, you see a shark in front of you, and you know it's because I assume if he's a lobster, a regular thing getting lobsters, then he knows which sharks are safe, which sharks are not. So he's obviously startled it, and it's headbutted him, and it's cut his lip. Poor boy. Girl 11 and family struck with BB gun rounds in the Bronx. So not a real gun. This is a BB gun. So you're like thinking, well, that's not too bad then, and it's not too bad. I mean, it's disrespectful, and you can have your eye out with it. I remember, oddly, I was in Southport. I bet the lobster grabbed him and he was embarrassed and said it was a shark. Never even thought of that, JT. You're right. BB guns. Yeah, I was with my mother, and we were in Southport. She needed to sit down, so we sat down on this little garden area. And these teenagers come in, and I thought, oh god, they're going to get rowdy here. And they had a BB gun, and they were shooting a can with a BB gun, and they're kind of making the can go along the grass. And then one of the lads lifted his top up and went, shoot me on the nipple with it. And the girl said, what? She said, shoot me on the nipple with it. So she did, and he went down like a sack of spuds. My mum nearly wet herself laughing, which I was surprised at, to be fair. I was sniggering away, and he was on the phone, oh, yeah, that really hurt. His whole chest area went bright red, so I imagine a couple of days later there was a big bruise there. So yeah, BB guns are not the friendliest of things, but that was up close. I imagine from a distance you just get more like if you've been paintballing or something like that, injuries. But no, this was a 15-year-old sister, 11-year-old girl were hit on the hand, and their mum and dad were hit on the back and their knee just after 1 a.m. 1 a.m. 11 and 15. Okay, they were with the mum and dad, but 1 a.m. walking around New York. What is wrong with you people? Should be in bed, getting ready for school in the morning, or if there's no school, getting ready for whatever kids do in New York in the morning when they're not doing stuff. If you all remember, President Biden went to Saudi Arabia to try and get them to produce more oil, and they've refused because they're making more money now than what they were before, but getting less oil out, so therefore it's costing them less. So why the hell would they make any more? We've made this problem ourselves. We need to be less dependent on this, but I've been here before, I've said it many times, so let's move on. But yeah, they're not doing, and people are saying now that Biden's been snubbed. No, it's a money thing, isn't it? What we say is, right, we're not going to buy oil from you anymore unless you reduce the price. It might hurt us a short time, but hopefully they'd see sense, produce more oil, and then long term we end up being better off. Although, to be fair, petrol prices are coming down. Last week I filled my car up and it was 180.9 for a litre of, because we do litres in the UK, not gallons, of petrol, standard petrol or gas. This week 164.9, so it was 16p cheaper. 3 killed, 6 injured in a stabbing spree in a kindergarten in China. Police in Chinese province of Jiangsu are looking for a 48-year-old guy who they say carried out the mass stabbing in a kindergarten, killing 3 and injuring 6. But not a gun, because getting a gun in China is very difficult, and it would have been a lot worse if he'd have had a semi-automatic weapon. Tragedy, yes, but kind of proves the point. China flew 27 military planes into Taiwan air defense zone during Pelosi visit. I mentioned this earlier on, I knew I'd seen it somewhere. So yeah, more than 24 Chinese military aircraft entered Taiwan's air defense zone on Wednesday, with some crossing the median line, which is basically the halfway between Taiwan and China. In the middle there's an invisible line, and they went over that, so they were closer to Taiwan than what they were to China, although they would say it's all China, so it doesn't make any difference. Disney World's floods as severe thunderstorms pummel, that's a word I've not used for a long while, Orlando in Florida. Disney World guests were treated to an unexpected water park experience this week. Yeah, it's weather. But remember, America is one of the worst polluters, along with China, in the world. So until they pull their fingers out, we've got no chance. Doesn't matter if Britain goes net zero. If they turned off all the power stations and we went back to candles and just eating vegetables cold and didn't use any electricity, we didn't use our cars, we didn't use anything whatsoever, everything shut down, there was no lights except for candles, that was it. It would make a blind bit of difference to the world because we're so small. We need to get the big countries. So your China, who are now not talking to America about it because of Pelosi, and America, who are not talking to China about it because of Pelosi, we need to get them to do it, and then the rest of the world would follow. Right, I've not seen the advert, but in South Korea there was an advertisement for garlic, and it's been roasted because it was purportedly obscene. A rural South Korean town is getting roasted over its video ad on a garlic that some farmers say stinks of obscenity and even has sexually objectified the agricultural product. I mean, how you can sexually objectify a clove of garlic is beyond me. But there you go. What can you do? Maybe it's a video I should ought to try and make. Nah. Nancy Pelosi's husband, he's been done for drunk under the influence after a crash. He's 82, and he pleaded not guilty to it in a 3-minute hearing. But no doubt we're going to hear more about that. But yeah, driving under the influence, not drunk under the influence. Driving under the influence. This is a weird one. 911 call reveals doomed North Carolina pilot jumped before emergency landing. So this, I assume it's this guy here. He jumped out of an aeroplane. He was a co-pilot before the aeroplane made an emergency landing. No parachute or anything. Died instantly. But it's a strange one, that. I don't get it. Again, sympathy for the family and friends. And we'll never know. A New York City judge released a man who was caught with a rifle and 500 rounds. She's also allowed a murder suspect back on the streets on a $5,000 bail. So, yeah, justice system in Britain we might moan about, but bloody hell, in America, that's just insane. Trump rips Pelosi over trip to Taiwan and says she's always causing trouble. Now, Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi, let's be honest, they don't get on. Nothing she does turns out well, the former president wrote of the speaker's visit. So that's kind of reaction you would have expected from him. It's just a shame that he's able to still be around and me still talk about him. One of the biggest wastes of money, I wouldn't say ever, but it's certainly probably in the top 100 wastes of money at all time of humanity. The James Webb Space Telescope. It's caught this picture of a cartwheel galaxy. A cartwheel galaxy. It basically looks like a cartwheel, firework kind of thing. Is it going to change humanity? Is it going to help humanity? Does anyone really care? No, the only people who care are the scientists, and I don't see the point of the thing. We need to concentrate on sorting stuff out on our planet rather than looking at stuff that's 500 billion zillion trillion years old, in my opinion. China fires missile in largest ever drills in waters off Taiwan, which we've already covered earlier on. But yeah, just thought we'd mention it here as well. And they even fired flares as well. You can make something just as nice on Microsoft Paint. I don't think Microsoft Paint's still a thing, but I know what you mean. A Florida pair arrested for filming sexual acts with their dog. What? She willingly engaged in activity with the dog on multiple occasions over the course of roughly 8 years. What? Baffled. Concerned, but mainly baffled. Iowa jailer accused prison officer of having sex with inmates in a prison utility closet or cupboard. She will stand trial on August the 12th having sex with the unnamed 29-year-old inmate, who everyone else is probably very jealous of in there, on multiple occasions in 2020 and 2021 at the Tama County facility, or faculty if you're American. So yeah, they're a randy screw. That's what they call them over here, prison officers. Screws. So it's a randy screw. Make your own joke up. China, get in. They've sanctioned Nancy Pelosi over vicious Taiwan trip. Rightly so, I say. China sanctioned House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and her immediate family for her vicious and provocative trip to Taiwan while firing ballistic missiles directly over them. So, well done, China. Not. Nancy Pelosi and her immediate family have been banned from going to China. Now, I don't think she wants to go to China particularly. I don't think it's going to affect her too much. But they say that she was acting provocatively and viciously whilst they've been firing live ammunition in the general direction of the country, which is obviously not provocative nor in any way aggressive or vicious. No, obviously not. Right, sad news. The McDonald's worker who was shot over the cold fries has passed away in the last 48 hours. He was shot in the neck over the cold fries, and it's now deemed a homicide. So yeah, tragic end to that story. But hopefully, the guy who did it will get what he's deserved to get, and that put in prison for life and serve nothing but cold fries until the day he dies, because there's no need for that. 4 people in critical condition after lightning strike near White House. 4 people were in a critical condition after an apparent lightning strike in a Washington DC park on Thursday evening. Again, these bizarre weather things that are going on around the world. Lightning in the middle of summer in Washington. I wouldn't say it's unheard of, but it's certainly not a common thing. Sadly, since then, one of the people has actually passed away. But more, last one for today. Waterspout sucks up homes in small Maryland island video. Now, waterspout is basically when off the sea or a lake or something, water kind of gets sucked up, a bit like a tornado. Normally it doesn't do any damage, but this one has destroyed a few houses on this island. And again, completely bonkers weather we're having at the moment. And I can't see how we're going to sort it unless, like I say, China and America pull the finger out and sort it for us. So that is it. We will leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. We will leave it with Lieutenant Nahura. I can do it like that. I can do it like that. I can do it. I can do that. I can do that. You see, I can do that. Not everyone can do that, but it's live long and prosper and all that kind of thing. which wasn't her thing. That was the Vulcan, Lena Nimoy, who passed away a few years ago. I think there's only Sulu and Captain Kirk left. And Captain Kirk's been in space and he's 90. Anyway, thank you Accidents and Emergencies, aka JT, Retro Rascal and NE for your input tonight. We're currently having a bit of lag. Are we? Yeah. So I'll say goodbye. Thanks for watching, if indeed you still are. And until next time, bye.